Right, so topic 4 is the relationship between school governance and classroom management. This topic explores the relationship between the two, and it includes how school governance affects the way in which teachers manage their classroom. This topic is an important one as it will help guide your thinking and planning your own management strategy within your classroom space while respecting and conforming to the expectations of the school managers and the governing bodies of your school, as well as taking into account what the consensus in the school is about the way we operate with our students and with other staff members. So here are some specific definitions of school governance, and basically, like you can see, it's about the creation of policies and rules. It's about who the decision makers are and what are they responsible for within the classroom space, and also, of course, what they expect their students to adhere to, creating the code of conduct, ensuring that the school has like good policies around inclusiveness or empowerment and so on and so forth. So there are different types of school government structures depending on the type of school that you're in. We'll discuss this a little bit more in the next slide. As I said in the previous slide, there are different types of school governance structures or bodies, and it depends on the type of school you have. So we have public schools and we have private schools, and within that they're further broken down into fee-paying schools or non-fee-paying schools. And some of these can be full-service schools. I have uploaded a document onto this topic 4 file on Drive and onto the Moodle platform. It explains to you what full service schools are. Please read that because we will be visiting full service schools and you need to have a good understanding of what they are, and of course it's also going to come in your quiz. Alright, so there's public school and then there's private schools. So private schools, we have independent schools and they fall under ISASA, and so they have their own ways of governing. They are not state schools, they are not run by the government. Some of them may be state subsidized, but they have their own set of rules and their own set of code of conducts and so on that they need to adhere to. And sometimes their managers are not school governing bodies. They may be a board, so there may be a set of people both within the school and outside of the school who then govern the school and make the rules for the school. And then also within private school, we also have religious affiliations, so different types of schools that are like Islamic schools or Christian schools that are Christian based or Jewish based, depending on the different type of school. And then we have high or low fee paying private schools, and so those schools are completely private. They have no government subsidy at all. And so those are different types of schools that have different types of bodies that do actually help to run them. So depending on the type of school you have, there are various role players or stakeholders that can get involved in school governance or school bodies. Those are the staff, former students, religious affiliations, so like churches that may have a say in the school, former parents, donors and alumni, affiliate groups, government, current students, current parents. Like I said, it all depends on the type of school you have that will then dictate to you who is involved with policy formation and so on. So the question is, who are the decision makers at the school? So who is involved in policy formation and the like? So in private schools, you could have a board, you could have a set of managers, you could have that obviously work with the principal or work with the school head. And in government schools or public schools, you would have what is called SGB or school governing body, which we are going to discuss within this slide, and they really decide on how your school is run, what the school does, what the main code of conduct is, what the main focus is, and so on and so forth. So we're going to move on to school governing bodies. What exactly is a school governing body? So a school governing body is made up of parents, educators, non-teaching staff, and so that's like possibly admin staff or the secretaries or reception and so on, and learners, but the learners usually have to be around grade 8 or higher, and they want to work together, or they do work together to promote the well-being and effectiveness of the school community, and thereby they enhance the learning and teaching that takes place in the school, as well as just improving the general function of the school. So I've uploaded the Schools Act 84 of 1996. I've uploaded that to the Moodle platform as well as the Drive, and this really talks about what the functions are that are applicable to an SGB or a school governing body. So also besides those, the school governing body can also request to have additional functions, to do more than what is just listed in the Schools Act, but they're going to have to ask, and they have to specifically go to the Minister of Education and actually request that they have more functions, but the Minister of Education may also put it upon schools to do more and to actually increase the duties of a school governing body. So the school governing body does have power, but their job is to do what is best for the school and not just do things that they think they want the school to do, or just do things to make the school look a certain way. It has to be in considering the rules of the Schools Act, considering the Children's Act, considering the Bill of Rights, which is most important, and to make sure that everybody's rights are considered and that their rights are respected. So you really need to be sure your school governing body is well put together and they understand exactly what their role is within the school space. And so the next question could be, who participates in the school governing body? So I mentioned a little bit before, but I'm going to go in more detail now. So it usually consists of the school principal and elected representatives, like we said, the parents, educators, staff members, and learners. Other members who could also have something to say, but they may not necessarily have a right to vote within the space. It just depends on how it works within your school governing body. So this could be members of the community or the owner of the school property, so they may also be part of it. And they can really come together, have people from outside coming to give their opinion or to provide expert opinions and expert advice within the governing body space, and they can really talk about how we can best get the school to work functionally and to work at optimal level. I'm going to move on to the next slide, and that's really going to outline what the role is and what the functions of the SGB are. Because this part is very important, I've actually put down all the information here for you. You can go onto the WCD website and get more information around this. But remember, a governing body has to be involved and really work on how the admission policy for the school is decided upon. What is the language policy of the school? So do you include second or third languages, is sign language included, and so on and so forth? Are there religious practices that to be followed at the school? So usually if it's a normal school, you cannot enforce any type of religious expectations on students, but some schools that are more faith-based, they do have an expectation of perhaps having a hymn in the morning or having specific days where religious studies is focused upon. So that will also be one of their functions. And also importantly, what is the code of conduct for the students and what is the disciplinary procedures that then follow on with that code of conduct? So do we do detention? Do we do other types of discipline? What are discipline policies? But remember, discipline and punishment is not the same thing. Discipline is more around what are our expectations, what do you as a student have to do, whereas punishment is something that you would do after the fact and is resulting of specific behavior. But we will discuss a lot more of that in topic 5. So all, like I said in the previous slide as well, all the decisions, all the policies, everything that you do as a SGB, you have to be in line with national policies, which are the Schools Act, which I've uploaded, the Children's Act. I've also uploaded an easy version of the Schools Act. There is the SGB outline as well that you can find. I could upload that for us as well. And of course, the Bill of Rights and so on and so forth. And the SGB must also adopt a constitution, and talking about how they will operate, adopt a school mission statement, which is very important for guiding the way we do things in our school, and decide the times of the school and so on and so forth. And so these are some of the things that they need to really do in the class, within their role as an SGB and leadership or school governance. So the school governing body or school governance or the school leadership, there is a lot of challenges that they may face. It's not very easy for them to make decisions for a whole school, because although one of their primary functions promoting the best interests of the school, all members of this body may have different views on how we can promote the best interests of the schools. So not everyone is on the same page. People have different opinions and everyone is trying to please a different stakeholder. Some people want to, please the donors, some want to please the parents, some want to please the learners. And also, you have to understand that this governing body is made up of parents, made up of community members. The teachers may feel that, why should they have a say when they're not the ones operating in the school every day? And so they may not respect the decision of the SGB. That's not always the case, but it is a possible scenario that could arise within the school. Another function is or another challenge rather is misunderstanding the roles pertaining to school governance and other professional issues. So people don't always realize their boundaries. So for example, parents may want to be involved with disciplining a teacher, but that is not their role. That is not where they need to be involved in. So they may misunderstand their role. They think that they, part of the complete governance or the complete decision making within the school space. Also, sometimes parents may feel that they're not educated about the expectations of a school governing body, which is why it's very important at the outset to determine exactly what the role of everybody is within the governing body. Also, difficulties in policy development, formation, and implementation. And this is because of the parent governors. They may not necessarily know what a school needs to do, how policies are implemented and how they are developed. And so they may be frustrated because they don't have the exact knowledge that they actually need to be in a school governing body. Then, of course, they also have to do the management of the school resources, and especially the financial management and facilities management. The challenge here is that when you're working with money, it's always very tricky. And so this is where parents and teachers and other SGB members really need to know how to manage money, how it works within a school space, because not everybody is going to be qualified for the budgeting process, and also the conflicting ideas about how we need to use finances. So these can be huge challenges that, if not dealt with effectively, can really affect the running of the school. So this is a lot of information. And you may ask, so how does this affect my classroom management? Because in my classroom, I am in charge and I am the one that is deciding on what we do in the classroom space. You are right to a point, but you are guided by the expectations of the school. You are guided by the expectations of the governing body, of the parents, of the learners, and the greater community, and of course, the national policies. So as much as you want to make your own rules in your classroom space, as much as you want to decide on how you will operate in your classroom, you cannot do so outside of the code of conduct as decided by the school governance. You have to understand that if, for example, a child steps out of line, you cannot hit them. You cannot do certain things which the school does not include in the code of conduct, which school governance has not accepted or has asked to have implemented in the school. And more importantly, you cannot cross the boundaries when it comes to national policies and the rights of your students, because as we know, corporal punishment is no longer allowed. So you need to understand the policies, the code of conduct, the governing body requirements. You need to understand all of this within your classroom space, so you know what your boundaries are, you know what is the expectation, you know which students are going to be included in the school. Do we have an inclusion policy which includes students with learning difficulties? What are the times of our school? What are the language policies of our school? All of this does affect the way you manage your classroom, because it does have you think about, is this appropriate to have in my classroom? Does this fit in with the code of conduct? And does this respect every learner's rights? It is really important for you as an educator to know your Schools Act and to know exactly how this affects you in the classroom space. So I've uploaded the Schools Act and also a summary of the Schools Act to make it a little bit easier for you. These are going to really guide you in determining how you function in your classroom and how you function within your school. The Children's Act is also very important. You are working with children, and there's very specific rules and regulations when you do work with children. I've uploaded 3 or 4 booklets on the Children's Act, because the Children's Act is quite extensive and quite dense. So I've given you little explanation booklets so you can go through them and really understand what are the rights of children. And it helps to educate yourself, but more importantly, you can educate others, other staff members, other parents, the parents of the learners that you are teaching, and very importantly, for kids to know what are their rights, but also what are their responsibilities. So this is a great little way for you to quickly gain the information that you need when working with children. Instead of references, what I've done is I've given you a guideline or outline of some of the websites that I've gotten the information from. Please go to them. They're very interesting. And it's important for you to know all of this information because it will be in your quiz. This topic 4 as well as topic 3, the information from these 2 topics will be in your quiz. And of course, it's an open book quiz, but it's obviously quite challenging because you have to bring in your own opinion, your own ideas, your own information, guided by the information that has been provided to you. I hope you enjoyed the quiz. It's part of the learning process, not to catch you out. It's just about a fun way for us to look at how much have we learned and what do we still need to go over. So good luck, everybody.